Hey guys, this is Jatin with rockgrow. In this particular video, we're gonna decode the interview journey, round, questions, answers to the e-commerce companies like Amazon, Flipkart, Udan, or any other B2B or B2C e-commerce company interview if you are appearing for. Before we move ahead with the interview questions and answers, let me quickly highlight the problem statement that we have already identified and going to resolve for today. When I was in my college, preparing for those e-commerce interview rounds, e-commerce companies interview questions and answers, when I used to do an internet research, right? So I used to get tons of resources saying that we have the best possible research for you in order to prepare for those interview questions and answers, right? Not just a Google search, if you do a YouTube search as well, we used to get a lot of videos, right? It usually gonna take around yours 4 to 5 hours daily if you want to, review all those website content and the videos content, right? So in order to save your time, in order to save your money and help you crack your next HR interview round with any of the e-commerce company, here's what I did for you. I browsed through around 100 plus websites and videos and figured out the most commonly asked HR, coding, technical, sales interview questions for different domains, right? And hence I created this particular video in order to help you to crack your next interview round. So here's what I did. Here's what we have covered for today. So when we talk about the targeted people, so we have like fresher or experienced people appearing for the job interview for Amazon, Flipkart, Udan, or any other e-commerce company. This is part one. We're going to cover the technical and HR interview process and questions. Domain of interest is sales and software engineers. If you want to get the responses to all these questions, all I'm targeting is to get 500 plus likes on this particular video and some healthy subscribers, right? So before we move ahead, kindly like this video, subscribe to the channel right away so that I can invite a sales professional, a tech professional from these companies on our YouTube channel to give you answers to all those questions that we're gonna list up today. Moving ahead, the interview process is pretty much simple and straightforward. You can go ahead and apply to a particular job via LinkedIn job section or the career portal. If you want to increase your chances of getting a job interview call by these companies, you must opt for the rule of employee referral, right? Employee referral is getting connected with the relevant people who are already working with these company over LinkedIn and ask for a job referral. In order to get how to get those job referral, you need to register for this workshop in day 4. We're going to discuss that how to you can get social selling to win employee referrals, right? Then we have is a group discussion or aptitude round. Then we have HR telephonic interview round. Then we have core interview rounds, and then followed by some training module respective of each company, right? When we talk about the type of questions we're going to cover today, so we're going to cover today 4 types of questions. One is going to be the sales interview question, technical interview questions, coding interview questions, and then HR interview question. Talking about the sales profile, so we have questions like differentiate between sales and marketing, a very basic questions, right? So for Amazon, let's say if a seller is not interested to get on board with us, how will you handle that situation, right? How will you manage demand and supply? This is the most commonly asked question for the e-commerce companies. Why sales when you have engineering background? Strategy to meet your targets. Tell me your plan B if we reject you. Scenario based questions. All of a sudden, we have demand of X product, but it is nearly out of stock. How will you manage this situation? Why wholesaler who is having a good sales offline should opt for online mediums? Seller is not happy with the service. The last 10 orders were returned back from customer. How will you handle this situation? Customer wants to get on board with us, but a legal team is taking a lot of time. How will you handle this situation? Scenario based questions, practical oriented questions that you will be only be able to answer if you have already have this list of questions that the interviewer is going to ask to you. If you want answers to these questions, like this video, I'm going to invite a sales professional to answer these questions for you. Next one we have is technical interview questions. Technical interview question, again the most repetitively asked questions around those different tons of websites and videos that I scanned through. Pillar of OPS, object oriented programming language. Differentiate between C, C++, and Java. What is call value and call by reference? What is SLDC? Describe your task concerning a SQL server deployment. What do you know about JavaScripting API? Can you think of a use case? You're given a positive integer x. Your task is to find and return the minimum number of steps x has to take to get reduced to 1. Longest palindromic substring. Given a string y consisting of lowercase English letter, you're supposed to return the longest palindromic string of y. You're given a list of string dictionary that represent the correct spelling of words and a query string query. that may have incorrect spelling. You have to check whether the spelling of the string query is correct or not. If not, then return the list of suggestions from the list dictionary. Otherwise, you return an empty list which will be internally interrupted as the correct string. So we're not just talking about those basic equations or differentiate between C, C++, Java. We're talking about more like a practical oriented, coding and the technical profile questions. Because end of the day, if you are cracking those interview rounds of these e-learning giants, we're talking about a salary package of 20 lakhs plus, right? So you have to be ready for these sort of complex interview questions as well. You already have the list, right? So all you have to do is to prepare for the answers. If you want my help in preparing those answers, just like this video, right? 500 plus likes, I'm gonna invite a technical profile person who gonna help you to provide these responses. How do you typically troubleshoot problems? Can you give me a step-by-step example? Tell me what you know about virtualization and containerization. Do you have any specific experience with tools like VMware or VirtualBox? Data structure and types. You have given a long type array list ARR of size X. You represent an elevation map where ARRI denotes the elevation of the height bar. Print the total amount of rainwater that can be trapped in these elevations. You are given an infinite supply of coins of denomination y, y0, y1, y2 up to yn minus 1. You need to figure out the total number of ways x in which you can make the change for value v using coins of denomination from y. Print 0 if a change is impossible. These are going to be your key questions that you need to have to be prepared. So it may happen that, let's say, the last question may come to you in a different form, but it's going to be coming to your next interview round. So make sure you are preparing for those interview questions. Next one we have is coding, and then we have the HR interview round. Let's get started. Now when we talk about coding questions, then these are the topmost questions that generally being asked. Differentiate coding and programming. So these are very basic questions that you should know. Differentiate between coding and programming. Differentiate between HTML and CSS. What do you know about the role of a developer and a designer? Computer program used to write code. Have you know how you can actually reverse a string? What is palindrome string? Write a code for me. How can you remove duplicates from arrays? Print a binary tree in vertical order. How to convert number string to integer in Java. Write a code to reverse a sentence of digit. Write a code to reverse a string in Python. Write a code to combine two languages. So these are the most repetitively asked questions available online via personal call that I have done to IT system engineers, right? If you guys want the practical answers to all these questions, all I expect from you is to like this video and subscribe. If you're gonna help me grow, I'm gonna in return help you grow as well. It's a mutual work that's gonna happen here. Now when we talk about the last slide that talks about HR interview questions, so these are the top most HR interview questions that can be asked in your next interview. Tell me about yourself. That's generally a basic question that everyone asks to make sure the next person who is actually appearing for the interview should feel comfortable, right? That's the whole objective behind tell me about yourself question. Why do you want to join us? Why should we hire you? Right? These are the two ways this question can be asked. The other ways as well, that why do you think you are the best role for this particular position? Tell me about the company, right? Questions related to the company and the responsibilities that you're gonna handle. That is where the job description comes into play. Tell me about your strength and weakness, short-term and long-term goals. Why is there an employment gap? Why do you want to change? Salary expectation. How will you handle the pressure? Future of programming language. So these are the top most and repetitively asked HR interview questions that will be there in your next interview round. Make sure you are preparing answers to all those technical coding and HR interview question lists that I've compiled for you. It took me around 1 month to prepare this particular video. Please make sure you are liking this video right now. Now when we talk about the next step, I'm also targeting around 500 plus like on this particular video. Not just this, for specifically for HR interview questions, we have already compiled that workshop for you guys, where in particular day 8 we're gonna talk about HR interview questions. So if you want to just look at the HR interview questions, I would suggest that just day 8 and day 5 should be your preferences, right? When we talk about the entire job research, then we have day 2, day 3, 4, 6, 7. But you have just before the day of your interview, then I would suggest day 8 and day 5 are going to be a day which you should watch. These are free of cost registration that we have over our rockgrow LinkedIn off campus workshop. All you need to do is to click on get your dream job, register for free and explore the content for free. That's something we can do right now with respect to preparing for those HR interview questions. If you want part 2 to go live as soon as possible, considering like this video right now and subscribing to the channel as well, I provided a Telegram group link in the description section, making sure you are joining that particular group to get instant updates on new videos, on questions, on updates, anything that we have for you guys in order to meet your end objective. So we look forward to your presence in the next video. Till then, namaskar.